In all honesty, the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice needs to be given more power. Um, we can't really have a true international court unless they actually have the power to be able to stop a government from doing something. If a leader has a warrant out for their arrest, then the UN or the International Criminal Court should be able to send troops to that government and arrest that person without any ramifications because this world needs a criminal court where all the nations are required to abide by. Otherwise, it is pointless to have like the UN or an International Criminal Court. Here we have the South African government filing a case against the Israeli government over genocide, but without any true power for the international court, nothing is really going to happen. It would be like a government having a court system, them, ruling that somebody committed a crime, but being unable to actually punish that person. The court becomes pointless.
The border town of Rafah, now a city of tents. Almost everyone in Gaza is displaced, and more than 21,000 people have been killed. 3 months ago, Gaza's children went to school. Today, they pick through rubble.
If this was happening to the Israeli government, the entire world would be fighting against the group of people doing this against the Israeli people. But because the Israeli government is backed by the United States, nobody can actually stop the Israeli government.
Whoever evacuates a place is better off just staying, because they're liars. They ask you to evacuate and send you to an area, and after many families gather there, they hit you. They're not.
Yeah, this is true. Um, Anytime the Israeli government has told people to go to a place for safety, they just end up airstriking that place.
Hitting 2 people, they hit 20 and 30 people.
Israel says it's trying to keep civilians safe, but every day it's carnage. And South Africa has now stepped up the pressure. It's asked the International Court of Justice for an urgent order declaring Israel has breached its obligations under the Genocide Convention. South Africa's court application says Israel's acts are genocidal in character, intended to bring about the destruction of a substantial part of the Palestinian national, racial and ethnical group.
Yeah, what do you call starving a quarter of a population, if not a genocide? What do you call airstriking indiscriminately the entire population and killing 20,000 plus people? What do you call it when the leader advocates for a genocide by using a story where people are genocided?
Israel has rejected the claim, calling it blood libel. In a statement, it said, South Africa's claim lacks both a factual and a legal basis and constitutes despicable and contemptuous exploitation of the court.
How is it blood libel? They're not saying that the Israeli people are like collecting the blood of Palestinians to use for in their food or anything. They're saying that the Israeli government is committing a genocide. That's not blood libel. But the Israeli government is trying to claim that the South African government is racist for criticizing the Israeli government over their genocide. They have factual basis. There is evidence, abound, mountains of evidence of what the Israeli government is doing, and it's on a legal basis. According to the UN, the Israeli government is committing a genocide.
The relationship between Israel and the UN and South Africa has hit an all-time low. Israel accuses the UN of bias and of being overly critical. Meanwhile, South Africa compares the plight of Palestinians to that of black South Africans living under apartheid.
I like it is hilarious how like the argument that the Israeli government is wanting to push is everybody's too critical of me. Like, I mean, if somebody was mass murdering a group of people and somebody condemned that, they can't be like, oh, you're being critical of me. I'm just, mass murdering people. But why is that supposed to be wrong? That's basically how the Israeli government is acting. They're trying to claim that people can't criticize them over their murdering of people.
Less than 30 minutes after South Africa's move, the Israeli military released this video. Soldiers rig explosives to tunnels built by Hamas.
I mean, it's typical of the Israeli government to like send out some kind of PR video once they get like some kind of big criticism of somebody. It's like it doesn't work. I mean, everybody knows that like Bibi Netanyahu helps fund Hamas through Qatar. These tunnels has been funded because of Bibi Netanyahu.
Gaza is riddled with them.
But it's like they constantly want to use like the tunnels of Hamas as their justification for killing innocent people. It's like, how does that make any sense? Because Hamas has tunnels doesn't mean you get to kill a kid.
Israel insists its war will go on until all the tunnels and Hamas is destroyed. In the south, life is a daily fight for survival as the winter sets in.
It doesn't matter whether you're an aid worker.
Yeah, I mean, if this was the Israeli government experiencing this by a stronger government, the United States would be condemning like for genocide of the Israeli people. But because it's the Israeli government, the genocide is somehow okay.
Or a civilian in Gaza right now, everybody's at risk. Every day the death toll from this conflict continues to rise.
Yeah, it's like the French diplomat who was killed by the Israeli government. He was a diplomat just trying to be there for peace and stuff. The Israeli government still killed him. It doesn't matter who you are. The Israeli government doesn't care. They're going to kill you.
We've lost, over 130 of our staff.
These are tender moments, a gentle touch, one last time. While Israel wages war, calls for it to end grow louder.
Yeah, even by Israeli people who want to see the end of the war. Even by people who had their family members killed by Hamas or the Israeli government. They want to see the end of the war. They're tired of the death that's going on, and they understand that the Israeli government is committing a genocide. Now, are these people also committing blood libel against the Israeli government for condemning the Israeli government for their genocide? That is wild if anybody claims yes.
And some Gazans say even death would be better than a life like this. Nicole Johnston,